Hi, everybody. This is Scott Schweitzer, owner of Prime Estate Planning and Prime Settlement. The first business helps keep you and your family out of court and out of conflict. And the second one helps protect your property rights and real estate transactions. And tonight, more relevantly, actually, a proud homeowner and just a citizen of Washington, D.C. I am here with my good friend, Steve Hudson Packard. So I want to give a quick shout out to him and say thank you for coming with you here tonight in this part of this interview.
Not at all. It's a pleasure. It's nice to connect with people, especially during this time of social distancing.
I agree. And the purpose of these interviews really is to showcase the people in my network and how they are connecting with their community during the pandemic. And so far, I've been talking mostly about my business network, but Steve is part of my personal close friend network. And I wanted to really get the opportunity to take a different take on these conversations. I also want to give a shout out to Jonathan Kirkendall. He was here with us last week. He's a great psychotherapist. If you didn't get a chance to catch that email or that interview, I should say, it is on my Facebook page and we'll link it below. So real quick with Steve then, he's a good friend, travel buddy, and house hubby living in the Eckington neighborhood of DC. He has a background in urban planning and design and uses these skills in renovating his row house, along with a rental property he and his partner share in Lost River, West Virginia. Since he doesn't typically drive into the office, the pandemic hasn't switched up his morning commute, but we'll learn more about what else has changed and how he is connecting with his community. And I guess, Steve, to start out, I just want to ask you, how have you spent your time in lockdown?
Well, a lot of it at home, as you can imagine. No, as you say, it's not on a day-to-day basis. Things haven't really changed for me because I'm based at home. I have two dogs that I look after. So the morning routine is very much the same: walking dogs and such, and then just sort of finding activities around the house, managing some projects remotely, and sort of working on projects here at the house.
You know, you're lucky to have, you're lucky to, first of all, to enjoy those projects, but also have a house that's big enough and, has enough going on that you can really kind of build in and really invest yourself in those projects. And you're lucky to have two lovely dogs. I didn't even introduce them, Winston and Maggie. You can't see them in the window there, but they're fantastic.
They're running around.
They're fantastic creatures. So for you then, what have been some of the challenges with the pandemic?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is mental health. Really, sort of worrying all the time and sort of ping-ponging from moments of sort of worry about what's going to happen, and then sort of needing some relief, some light relief, be it laughter or a well-earned drink at the end of the day. So I think that's been a challenge, sort of just managing emotions. And then, of course, I'm sure, as everybody has experienced, just the challenge, the new challenges of simple things like going to the grocery store or having something delivered. But no, I would say that it's emotional challenges that have been the hardest.
Yeah, and I totally empathize with that. As mentioned to you and Truman, that on top of me living by myself in my condo, even though my both businesses have been active and busy and so forth, and so that's been really helpful and I'm really grateful for that. It's just been tough not being able to go out and actually see my friends, especially March through middle of May. Thankfully, some of that's starting to change now. I think people are feeling in DC a little more comfortable, at least coming out in small groups and meeting in person, which is, I think, a big positive change.
Absolutely.
No,
I think it's become important. We've hosted sort of small groups of friends on the front garden. Which has been a great sort of asset, having this space in front of the house where we've been able to sit out, have a drink, connect with the neighborhood, see people walking by, joggers and neighbors. It's been a real blessing.
So how do you think the wider community, I guess, has coped with the same situation?
Well, I think there's been a really, certainly in my neighborhood, there's been a really strong sense of community spirit. I think people are engaging more with each other, even though it's at distance. Just the sort of simple gestures of saying good morning, waving to neighbors. I've seen a big increase in that, and sort of like care and consideration, asking about each other, which has been wonderful to see.
That is nice. And your neighborhood in particular, I think, it's just small enough and just off the beaten path enough that I think there really is that sense of people kind of looking out for each other a little bit. You know, some of the busier downtown areas, I think, where people don't have that sense of community, at least in the first part of the pandemic, you saw people really kind of scuttling around and not wanting to talk to each other or engage. But I've noticed even just myself sitting on your doorstep, one of those outdoor meetings, that yeah, people knew who you were and people waved and people really interacted and engaged. And
Yeah.
I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess, what are your concerns now as we slowly here in DC, as we slowly move out of lockdown, and what do you see as challenges ahead?
Well, I mean, there's so many challenges right now, be it pandemic related or politically. I think specifically to do with the pandemic, I'm concerned about increase in infections and rises in infection rates, because I think that will have the effect to kind of bring people back into their home for sort of safety and security. And of course, you know, I think after having so many months of already experiencing this, there's a real fear of what that means again, just at a time when people are sort of in the mood to just, you know, have some kind of vacation, just go see the beach, or, you know, go to a park.
Yeah, no, that is scary. I mean, and I think, you know, people got a little taste of that and they're excited. You know, I myself went on a little trip over Memorial Day weekend, and it was good for my mental health to get away and to see some people. And
Mm,
I guess spoiler alert out there, Steve and his husband Truman and I, and perhaps a couple other friends, are headed up to my parents' place in Wisconsin, the lake house up there. So that's going to be a
mm.
great
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
opportunity, yeah, just to hang out with the dogs because they're driving up there and enjoy the water. And you know, there's less infection up there. You're not in the city, you're out in the countryside, and they've been up there for the 4th of July before, so really kind of enjoy some fireworks too. The firework display is on in full force, so I think everyone will have pent up enthusiasm and so for it, which will be
Absolutely.
nice.
Absolutely.
And I guess that leads into just, what do you most look forward to in a return to normal, or you know,
New
whatever
normal.
that means over the next couple of years. It's been, that's a term that's been bandied about so much that I'm almost sick of
Yeah.
hearing it. You know, what are you returning to? I guess, what are you looking forward to in the next 6 to 12 months?
I think just sort of reconnecting with people. I think the isolation, and I've been fortunate enough to be at home with my, you know, husband and 2 dogs, although, you know, that can get tense at times.
Sure.
But I think what's going to be lovely, and what I really crave, is just connecting with people. You know, because as you know, we would host a lot of like functions here at the house, dinners, you know, drinks parties and things. So I kind of miss having people around, and reconnecting is going to be so important, and just spending quality time with people. And
Yeah, no, I could totally hear that. I'm excited to have some more dinner parties at your place too. He's a lovely cook. His husband Truman is a lovely bartender, and
very good.
different stages in their lives, the roles have been reversed. And just to get a little more background, I met the two of them, gosh, it's got to be what, 4 years ago about now.
Yes,
Um,
when we moved to DC.
I think that's about right. And before that, they had been living in Sydney. And the context is that Stephen Truman met about, goodness, 17 years ago. Is that right?
19, I think.
19. Okay.
19.
Well, time flies when you're having fun. And
It certainly
Truman,
does.
Truman is currently an economist at the World Bank. And when they first met, I think Truman was in school and you were working, right?
Yes, we met
Okay.
in Oxford. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's been a bit of a role reversal over time. And you guys have lived how many different places together?
Ooh, about 8, I think.
Okay. I
So
didn't realize there were eight.
3 different countries, but 8 cities within.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know from here, so DC, Sydney, and then what was before that?
London,
Okay.
and then Oxford.
Okay. Okay.
Only four places, but a couple of houses in a couple of those places.
Different houses and everything else. So really, you know, I know you guys are going to be relocating sometime soon, and I won't give anything away, but that's kind of been put on hold as well.
Yeah, it's been affected, and I think that's another thing that sort of, you know, I look forward to in the future, is having a little bit more certainty with things. You know, we had these plans to move and overseas, and of course everything's on hold, and everything sort of, there's a big question mark and just not having any certainty, because I'm someone who's such a planner, hence my background in urban planning. You know, I like to have order and schedules and plans, and it's really tough when you just have no idea when and how things are going to be.
Yes, and that's, I think I have a little bit of that myself as well. So it is tough, and so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing some planning for our upcoming trip. That'll be nice. I think a lot of people feel comfortable getting out of town, driving places perhaps over the summer. But, some of the most fun experiences I've had in the last few years with you and Truman have been our international trips. And in fact, there's people that I miss that I wish I could see right now and go visit who live in far-flung places. And I think that's the one piece for those of us who like to travel that way, that we just don't know when that's coming back,
Yeah, but I mean, great opportunity to appreciate what's on your doorstep too. You know,
That's
get
true.
get into the countryside, go visit small towns.
Right. No. Yeah. Well, again, looking forward to that. And for anyone who's living out there, or listening, I should say, out there, please feel free to share some ideas that you're having for your summer and upcoming autumn trips. We'll all have cars. We'll all be interested in driving around, and love to just be able to kind of share that with the community. And Steve, thank you for sharing a bit of Eckington community with me today. It's
No
been
worries.
great. And I hope to see you perhaps. Actually, no, we're going to be hiking Saturday morning. So it won't be
Saturday,
that
early
long.
morning, 9
Early
a.m.
morning. I know you set these ambitious plans up for early morning. We'll see how early it is. All right. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
No problem. All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.